Hi everybody, I just wanted to do a video about 24 because the season is over now. There's no more 24, and I'm a big 24 fan. I love the show. I got a 24 T-shirt right here, and I got another 24 T-shirt, uh, Counter Terrorist Unit. That's what CTU stands for. And so I basically wanted to do a reflection video on the TV show and the last episode, and where the franchise is going now in the future, and just all about the show. I just wanted to talk a little bit about it and the season and all that. But anyways, towards the end of the season, Jack really went on a killing spree. I mean, this guy was out for blood. I mean, and you can't blame him too. I mean, he really cared very much for Renee Walker. I don't think he was just driven by vengeance, but I think he was also he wanted to do the right thing. He wanted to stop this cover up and stop the Russians. I think it was a combination of both those things that made him get the way he did. And you can't. I mean, Pavel killed Renee Walker, and he went freaking ballistic. I mean, we saw what he did to Pavel when he got a hold of him, and it was pretty gruesome for TV. I mean, but it's television. I mean, it's there to entertain us. But I think that I'm glad to see that Jack got his revenge. And like for instance, when he killed Dana Walsh, some people were kind of shocked at that. But when you think about it, and I'm not a violent person or anything, but I love good action films. Um, I can kind of understand why Jack killed Dana Walsh, because she betrayed him at least a couple of times, I think, and she was always constantly getting in the way. Um, when he had her cornered inside that building, she said to him, "What can I do for you, Jack? What can I do for you?" He says, "Absolutely nothing," and he blew her away. Well, because he couldn't trust her. You know, she acts like she'll cooperate, and then later on she betrays him. So, and she was behind Renee Walker's death, so I can understand why Jack did what he did. Um, and so another thing that surprised me um, was, President Taylor. I mean, I know that she really wanted peace in the worst possible way, but she was almost willing to do it at any cost, and it costed her presidency. Um, and she should have never have listened to that little weasel, former President Logan, who was a corrupt president in the past, and his corruption uh, went on to her and destroyed her presidency. His corruption destroyed and ruined her presidency, and she should have never listened to that weasel. And that character was such a weasel towards the very end. He was both a coward, he was a criminal, and and he was a murderer. I mean, he did kill somebody, and towards the end of the movie, he tried to kill himself. But he won't be in any future movie because they said that he would survive, but he'll have maybe have permanent brain damage. So I can't see how there can be any more character development with that character anymore. Um, so that's what surprised me, and uh, I think now we're going to see that Jack is going to probably go to Europe. It's been rumored that he gets out of the country and goes to Europe. Now, Sutherland has said repeatedly and a lot of times that there's going to be a movie. So maybe the movie is going to take place in Europe. And what better place for it to take place? I mean, I don't want to. I'm not trying to offend any of my European friends out there, but Europe's always been known as one of those places, both in real life and and the movies and TV shows, as a place where there's terrorists and there's spies and there's secret agents. And think about it. I mean, Jack in Europe. I mean, dealing with all that, the Russian, the Russian government after him. You could have high-speed chases on the Autobahn or in the streets of Paris. You could have speed boat chases through Venice. I mean, you could have all kind. You can do all kinds of things with Europe, and as far as action and adventure goes, I think Europe would be the best place. Although there are problems with it taking place in Europe, as it was hinted at the end of the towards the end of the show. President Taylor and told Jack. She told Jack that the Russians will be after you, will be after you, so you better leave the country. So if the Russians are after him, chances are that going to Europe, he's pretty much near their own backyard. So I don't know if that whole Europe concept will work. You know, you'd think he'd go to somewhere we can get further away, but you know what? The guy is fearless. So if the Russians want to take on Jack, he'll just kill more Russians, I guess. You know. But going back to President Taylor, I mean, she should have really listened to Ethan. You know, taken his advice and taken Jack's advice about what to do. I mean, I know that she wanted peace very much, but you know, her presidency has been corrupt, and she had hinted in the show that she was going to put in her you know, resignation. So so that's how that kind of ended up. But you know, it was a good show. You know, it ran for a long time, and the characters were so good, and I mean, it was a good show, and the action, everything. I loved the show. But I think you know, I'm hoping that'll take place in Europe, because I think that would be a good place for, you know, an action adventure, you know, shoot 'em up, you know, car chase kind of place for Jack Bauer. Could take place in the Middle East. Maybe he's going to go to the Middle East, and who knows? But maybe, you know, I don't see him going to Asia, and I don't see him going to Canada, because the Americans are after him now, and Canada is right next to the United States. So, but Europe, I don't know. I want to see Europe. I want to see him go to Europe, and I think that's going to really be super, you know. But anyways, you know, that's all I wanted to really say about it. I think that we will get a movie. I am going to be going to San Diego Comic-Con this summer, and I'm sure there may be a panel on the future of 24, where it's going, and you know, and there'll probably be talk about the movie and all that. So I don't know if there's going to be that panel there, but I wouldn't be surprised with all this movie talk, movie buzz going on. So yeah, I love 24, and that's all I want to say. And until we all see the movie. All right, everybody, take care.